On an old forest path, where even the trees stood silently, an aging elephant named Ranga walked alone every day. He was huge, slow, and had cloudy eyes that hid oceans of emotion. The young animals of the jungle often giggled behind his back. Look at him. So big, but always alone. Why doesn't he ever play or talk like others? Maybe he forgot how to smile. But Ranga never got angry. He just smiled gently and kept walking. Among the giggling animals, there was one little sparrow, Milu. She didn't laugh, she was curious. Every day, she would fly down and sit on Ranga's head. Why don't you laugh? Why do you always walk alone? Don't you have any friends? Ranga looked at her with warmth and softly said, Silence is a language too, Milu. Not everyone can understand it. From that day on, Milu never left his side. A strange but beautiful friendship began between a giant and a tiny bird. One summer, the forest faced a terrible drought. The ponds dried up, the trees turned yellow, and the animals grew restless with thirst. Milu saw Ranga standing still, watching the dry lands. He looked like he was remembering something old. He didn't panic, just stood in silence. That night, without a word, Ranga walked out of the forest. Milu followed him a little, but lost him in the darkness. The next morning, the forest was buzzing, Ranga had disappeared. 3 days passed. Then suddenly, a narrow stream began to flow into the forest. The pond filled again. Everyone celebrated. But Milu didn't smile. She flew in every direction, searching for Ranga. Milu finally reached a rocky valley, far from the forest. There, she saw large marks on the earth, signs of a massive body, and a long, heavy trunk. She realized the truth. Ranga had dug the earth with his last strength, redirected a hidden stream back to the forest, and then lay down to rest forever. He had saved them all. Without words. Without wanting praise. Now, Milu no longer laughed when others looked different or stayed silent. Every morning, she sits quietly by the stream, listening to the wind, the leaves, and the silence. He taught me, she whispers, that real love doesn't need noise. Sometimes, the quietest hearts make the loudest impact. Glowing star moral of the story. Don't laugh at those who walk alone or stay quiet. Sometimes, they're carrying the whole world inside them. Real strength is not in speaking loudly, but in silent sacrifice. Next story.
Deep inside the lush green forests of Africa, where the morning sun painted golden rays on the leaves, birds chirped sweet songs, and the air carried the scent of fresh earth, lived a small lion cub named Simba. But Simba was not like the other lion cubs. He wasn't the strongest, nor did he roar the loudest. His paws were tiny, and his body still weak. But there was one thing about Simba that was bigger than any other creature in the jungle, his heart. While other lion cubs chased after prey, Simba admired the butterflies fluttering around. While others played rough games of growling and wrestling, Simba helped the small, injured animals, feeding baby birds, carrying fruits for little rabbits, and comforting those who were hurt. The elder lions often mocked him. A lion isn't supposed to play with weak animals, they laughed. You'll never survive the jungle with such a soft heart. But Simba believed strength wasn't only about claws or fangs, it was about courage and kindness. One summer afternoon, after weeks of scorching heat, disaster struck. A massive wildfire broke out in the forest. Flames leapt from tree to tree, thick smoke filled the air, and panic spread everywhere. Birds flew frantically into the sky. Elephants, leopards, and even the mighty lions ran to save their lives. The once peaceful jungle turned into chaos. In the middle of this, Simba noticed something. Hidden under a bush, trembling, was a tiny white rabbit. Its little eyes were filled with fear, trapped by the approaching flames. There was no escape. Simba's heart pounded. He was scared too. The fire was fierce, the heat unbearable. But when he saw that helpless creature, he knew he couldn't just run away. With determination in his eyes, Simba charged towards the fire. The smoke stung his eyes, burning heat singed his fur, but he didn't stop. His tiny paws raced through the burning bushes until he reached the rabbit. Without wasting a moment, Simba gently placed the trembling rabbit on his back and began running back, dodging falling branches and leaping over flames. His heart raced, his body ached, but he refused to give up. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, Simba emerged from the smoke, safe, with the rabbit still clinging to his back. All the animals stopped in awe. They had seen many strong creatures, but never such bravery from someone so small. When the fire was gone and the forest slowly healed, the animals gathered around Simba. Even the mighty lions, who once mocked him, now looked at him with pride. Simba, you've shown us that true strength is not in the body, but in the heart, they declared. You are the true king of this jungle, the king with the biggest heart. Simba smiled gently. He had proven to everyone that courage isn't about muscles or power. It's about standing up for others, even when you're afraid. From that day, the animals called him the big-hearted king, a reminder that kindness and bravery can change the world. Moral of the story: strength comes not from size, but from the size of your heart. True heroes are those who help others even when they're scared themselves. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to give it a like, yellow heart, subscribe to Payal Tales for more inspiring and emotional stories every week. And tell us in the comments, what part of the story moved you the most? Thank you for watching. See you in the next story.
Outside a small Indian village, beneath an ancient peepal tree, a lonely dog sat every evening. People would often whisper, whoever sits under that tree, their story never remains incomplete. The dog's name was Chaya. He wasn't like other dogs. He didn't beg for food, didn't bark at strangers. He just waited. Every single day, in the same spot, eyes glued to the road. Waiting for one person. A boy named Aryan. No one knew why. Aryan had left the village years ago. People said, he moved to the city, he's never coming back. But Chaya waited, as if his soul was still tied to a promise. The backstory of a bond born in silence. 5 years earlier, Aryan had come to the village to live with his grandmother. He was quiet, distant, like a boy who had lost something in the city's chaos. One rainy night, he found a shivering little puppy in the mud, weak, wet, almost lifeless. Villagers said, "Don't touch it. It's filthy." But Aryan picked him up, wrapped him in his shawl, and whispered, "You are my friend now. I'll call you Chaya, because you'll be my shadow from now on." And just like that, they became inseparable. Chaya followed Aryan everywhere, to the fields, the school gate, the pond, the temple stairs. They didn't need words, their silence was full of love. But life changed. One day, Aryan's grandmother fell seriously ill. He had no choice but to leave for the city for her treatment. On the day he left, he hugged Chaya tightly and said, "Wait for me. I will come back." Prince, the endless wait. 5 years passed. Time flew. The village changed. Children grew up. Machines entered the fields. But one thing stayed the same: Chaya still sat under the peepal tree. Every single day, he would run toward every motorbike, every bus, every horn, hoping it was Aryan. People mocked him, "He's just a mad dog now." But no one knew, for Chaya, Aryan wasn't a person. He was home. Broken heart, the ending that breaks the silence. One morning, A white car entered the village. A man stepped out, tired eyes, thin frame, wearing a city suit. It was Aryan. He softly whispered, "Chaya." An old man in the village said, "He died just yesterday, right there under that tree, waiting for you." Aryan dropped to his knees near the tree. The ground beneath him felt hollow. "I came back, Chaya. Why couldn't you wait one more day?" He built a small grave under the peepal tree, marked with stones and flowers. And now, every year, on the same date, Aryan returns. He sits quietly under the tree. And though Chaya is gone, he swears, sometimes, he still feels a warm breath near his feet. Glowing star moral of the story. Loyalty is not just a bond. It's a soul, one that waits beyond time, beyond words, beyond life. Humans often forget. But animals never stop waiting. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to give it a like. Yellow heart. Subscribe to Payal Tales for more inspiring and emotional stories every week. And tell us in the comments, what part of the story moved you the most? Thank you for watching. See you in the next story.